Hello. In today's video, I'm going to be demonstrating a new tool available in Simple GIS Client called a multi-layer buffer analysis. And so if you've looked at some of the other tutorials or through the help file, you may be familiar with a normal buffer analysis where you can generate buffers at a specified distance around selected features in a layer. In this case, this new tool allows you to combine buffers across many layers for more sophisticated spatial analysis. And I'll go through a demonstration to hopefully make this clearer. So to begin, I have a map here, and I just have a street atlas data set that's available in Simple GIS Client that's loaded to my local drive. And I'll just be using some of these layers for this demonstration. Just to illustrate the functionality. So as you can see, I'm zoomed in around an area around Oklahoma City. So to use this tool, you can locate it under the geoprocessing drop-down menu at the top of your map application. So if I select geoprocessing, and as I get this drop-down menu, it's right down right underneath the Perform Drive Time Drive Analysis menu item, you'll see a menu item called Perform Multi-Layer Buffer Analysis. Now, as I click on this menu item, I'll get a dialog box, and you may notice if you've seen another tutorial demonstrating the site analysis project template, you may notice as this looks somewhat familiar. So in the middle of this dialog is just a table that lists all the conditions that I've entered so far. And of course, I haven't entered any conditions, so it is obviously blank at this point. So to begin, let's say I wanted to locate potential areas in my current view that's within 1 mile of a freeway or interstate, and also within 1 mile of a river, will also be within 1 mile of a railroad. Well, using this tool, you can identify those areas quickly. And so to demonstrate, I'm going to come here, and the very first thing you're going to want to do is go to this very first button that's called Add Layer Condition. As I click on this button, I get a list of layers that's in my current map that I can choose from that I want to add to my particular analysis. So I'm going to select the motorways layer, and if you already have some features selected, it will tell you what those features are, but you have this option here where if you've pre-selected some features that you want to run the analysis around, you could select that option, or you can select all features in your current map display just by clicking this radio option, or if you wanted to run this analysis on all features in this particular layer, you could select that option as well. So I'm just going to use all of the features that's in my current display that I'm viewing. And then we can also filter this result further, which I'll demonstrate in just a minute. I'm not going to do it for this particular layer, but you would click this button to actually do that. Click here to filter selected features. The next thing you need to do is enter the distance site must be within proximity to selected features. So in this case, I'm just going to use 1 for mile, and obviously my units are set to miles. I could change my units of measurement if I wanted to, and whatever option I click, that is the units that the distance will be interpreted as being in. And then for my condition operation, I can do an AND condition or an OR condition. It doesn't matter on the first item that you're selecting for a condition, which one of these you choose. This is the very first condition that you're adding. But as you add subsequent conditions, you'll want to select whether you want the resulting areas identified to meet all the conditions, or if the area identified can meet either of the conditions. And so that's why this operation is set here. And so hopefully this will be a little clearer as we go through the example here. So I'm going to apply this condition. Now I'm going to go ahead and add another layer condition. And in this case, I'm going to select the railways. Again, I want to do all features in my display. And I'm going to enter the distance for 1 mile. And I'm going to leave the condition set to and because I want to identify areas that has to meet the previous condition as well as this condition. So I click apply. And then once more, I'm going to add a layer condition. And now I'm going to choose the waterways layer. And again, I want all features in the display. So you can see there's quite a few. But now I'm going to filter these. So I'm going to click on this, click here to filter selected features. And this is where I can use an attribute query to select a subset of the features on my display. So in this case, there's actually a feature class field that identifies a type of waterway in this particular layer. So I'm going to add an attribute query. So I'm just going to say where feature class is equal to river. And again, I want to make sure I select what I'm trying to filter here. In this case, I want to select from set because I'd already told it to select all the features in my current display. And so from that, now I want to select only the features in my display whose feature class is river. So I'll click apply. Depending upon the size of the layer. So in this case, this is the layer of waterways across the entire US, so it's quite large. And on top of that, this particular attribute field is not indexed. Of course, if it was indexed, it would speed up that query quite a bit. But it's now done. It's my hourglass has gone away, and I can close this dialog. And now I see that it only selected 493 features, where it had many more selected before that that's in my current view. Again, I need to enter my distance for 1 mile. And once again, I'm going to leave the condition operation set to and apply this condition. So now I have 3 separate conditions. I want to select all areas within 1 mile of our motorways layer, which is your freeways and interstates. And it must be within 1 mile of railways, as well as being within 1 mile of waterways. So it has to meet all of these conditions. And at this point, I could also do some additional analysis using the census demographic data to calculate some demographic data in the potential areas, or do some other spatial analysis. But I'm not going to demonstrate that because that's been demonstrated in some of the other tutorials, such as our standard buffer analysis, as well as the site analysis project template. So I'm not going to go through that in this particular, but just know that this works absolutely the same way, and you can perform that type of analysis. So I'm going to go ahead and just go to the no thanks, specify output and complete analysis. I'm going to give it a name for my new layer that will hold the results. And then I just click on start analysis. At this point, you're getting a status at the bottom of the dialog, so it's telling you that it's creating the buffers. It's now on the railways. It's in the process of merging those particular buffers. And then here quickly, it should move on to the waterways. And so it's now creating those buffers. And now it's merging those. And then once this analysis is complete, it's going to add the layer to your map. This dialog will disappear, and you can see that it actually added this new layer, and these are the areas that are identified to meet all of those conditions on our current display. If I had elected to do any type of demographic analysis on these resulting sets or other spatial analysis, of course, you would also have seen the results of that displayed in a bar graph here on the right side of your map, just like in the normal buffer analysis. So now we can zoom in, and we'll notice as we zoom into these areas that in fact it meets all of those conditions. So you can tell from this buffer around this we're within 1 mile of an interstate, as well as we have some railways running through this area, as well as a river that's running through this area as well. So this identifies areas that meets all three of those conditions that we specified. And so that's a quick way to allow you to get to those result sets when you're trying to do some type of a spatial analysis across multiple layers and you're trying to find areas that meet particular proximity conditions across multiple layers. Just for illustration purposes, I'm going to remove this and just show you the difference when we do an OR condition versus an AND condition. So let me go ahead and remove this layer, just recreate it. And I'm going to do the same type of analysis. I'm going to come to my geoprocessing menu, go to perform multi-layer buffer analysis. And again, I'm going to add those same layers as conditions. So I'm going to go to my motorways. I'm going to do all features and display. I'll do it within 1 mile. And again, on the first condition, it doesn't matter what you click here. So we'll just move on from that, and we'll go ahead and add our next condition, which will be the railways. Once again, I want all features and display within 1 mile. And now, though, on this one, I'm going to select it as an OR condition. Click Apply. And now add once more to add the waterways. And again, I'm going to filter it based upon this feature class field. Let that run just for a second to complete that query. Now it's just completed it, so I'll close, dismiss this dialog. I'll enter my proximity distance. And again, I'm going to enter this as an OR condition as well. So as I apply this, on this particular case, now instead of having to meet all three conditions, what this is saying as an OR condition is I just want sites that's either within 1 mile of a motorway, which is your interstates, or within 1 mile of a railway, or within 1 mile of a waterway. And again, I'm just going to go to the no thanks and specify my output. Give a layer name for my output. And click Start Analysis. And now it's going to begin that same type of analysis. But this time, unlike the AND condition where it's returning the intersection of all areas that meet all three conditions, it's now returning a merged result set of all areas that meet any of the conditions. So it is just about complete, nearing completion. I can tell here my status is now on the waterways. And it just added the layer, and now the box has disappeared. So now you see the difference in the result set. So this, again, represents areas that meets any of the three conditions we had set, since we had set them all as an OR condition. And so this just shows you any areas that meets any one of the three conditions we entered. So hopefully that helps and helps clear it up. As always, please visit our website if you would like more information. That website, is all one word. It's simplegissoftware.com. Once again, that's simplegissoftware.com, all one word. There is a Contact Us page that you can access on that website to drop us a line if you have any questions. We'd love to hear from you. Or you can always comment. Leave a comment in the comments below. Thank you.